Disengage from itself with everything, with everything, with everything. No grasping is on its own with everything. Non-attachment is on its own with everything. This will be simultaneous purification of the extinction altogether. Cutting deluded knowing and helping through cutting deluded is to be simultaneously given. It's time to purify. Who is that is not diligent to purify samsara will be cleansed. The karma will cleanse oneself. All the parasites who are just hanging here to eat, to live, beware. All the nonsense going here and there, being drunk, they will be paid back accordingly without falling to bless accordingly. Being like a parasite, living like a parasite, beware. Because that kind of ways will become debts of karma. Therefore, they are going to receive the consequences of one's own karma. And with all the people who already blessed beings accordingly, one will get bounced back according to that kind of mighty force of purification of the extinction. Create more heavy bounce back. Proceed simultaneously with everything, no grasping is on its own. With everything, no grasping is on its own. Non-attachment is on its own. Continue with these reminders. Purify continuously for samsara. Samsara will be brightening accordingly, according to the reminders. So, purify the reminders constantly. Nothing gonna be left over because there is self-purification in the reminders themselves. Because this is not a projection that is stuck in itself. It purifies itself instead. Disengaging on its own is the projection that purifies itself. It will not become samsara that is left over. This is to tempt samsara to purify it instead. No is not no itself, is already ends for everything. What is there to be yes and no with anything is ending for both yes and no already. Ending the attempt to yes and no with anything. Therefore, make a conclusion in such a way constantly. No is not no itself. The self is created constantly because of the suffering. The suffering, the suffering. The delusion to yes constantly like that is because of the suffering. No as well. Suffering happens because of no, because of the rejection. Suffering with the rejection itself. No is not the no itself. This will end the attempt to yes and no with anything. Don't follow anything, child. There is no need to follow oneself or anyone. Disengage from itself right away, thoroughly. Whatever that one follows is going to be deluded to it. according to thought, opinions, and meanings. Deludedly following that will be just continue with delusion, always desire, on and on. Discarding is on its own, child, with everything. Everything is giving up on its own. Everything is non-attachment on its own. In this way, it will not become samsara at all. It will end all the circling. It won't become samsara. The attempts to attach, it becomes samsara continuously into the future as well, without coming to terms with the conclusions towards ending. If it's becoming samsara already, it will continue as samsara into the future. No, it's not know itself thoroughly. This is the conclusion that concludes itself. If you think all over, it's going to be like that all over. If the thought purifies itself, it will end all the samsara of the thoughts. If not diligently blessing, waking up and just waiting for food, one will just get food. Walking alone by oneself also look like having no energy to bless. Therefore, it's not balanced because this is like individually non-attached. It's not balanced. Not yet being the essence of the great compassion. It's become for the sake of one's own extinction. This is not yet the great compassion. Therefore, there is no mighty force that is as a team. Therefore, it has to proceed simultaneously with everything through the essence of disengaging on its own, so that there will be purification of the extinction that is simultaneously given. This is the power of Nirodha, Nibbana, to purify samsara altogether as a team. Everything, if it's still karma overlaying dharma, karma overlaying all that is given, which is ungraspable, if there is still projecting and desire to memorize, to try to understand, or whatever, is still karma. May everything be ahosi, ahosi, ahosi. Whatever that is given is not for the sake of oneself. Is to be given for samsara, is not to keep it within oneself. Neither is it about nibbana or samsara. Listen well. Listen to that which is not about projecting towards one side or any other side. Because the projecting or desiring expectation is the samudhaya, the cause of suffering. Let's conclude. No grasping is on its own. and use the essence towards all things. Otherwise, there is the seed of karmic habits that is concluding for oneself only, still circling within oneself for the sake of oneself. That's why it's limited from the Brahma realm to the hell realms, just being limited. Therefore, it's not discarding this kind of limitations. That's why it's stuck as realms of existence, realms of the mind, realms of Dharma attainment, being stuck. Therefore, everything proceeds towards everything through the essence. Everything. Non-attachment is on its own to be proceeded with everything. This is not just only about the essence, but it means that the essence must be proceeded towards everything, share towards everything. Therefore, it becomes balanced. Everyone has the habit of using mindfulness, of concentration. Habits within Dhamma. We have to discard it. It's not about the act of discarding, and it's possible to discard. The discarding discards itself. The discarding itself only. This is not about discarding anything, because the discarding will be stuck there, stuck with the act of discarding. Continue to listen to this essence of discarding on its own, because you cannot do anything with it. Just listen, and for the following will be accordingly. Discarding on its own will end the act of discarding or not. Totally. It will end this samudhaya. Listening, then there will end all about samudhaya, the cause of suffering and suffering. This era, the enlightenment is according to the listening. Just listen. Just listen. Otherwise, always thinking over for something, analyzing for something, listen only. Because the conclusion is right there. Ceasing is right there. Ceasing the ceasing itself, ending the ending itself. There is no need to begin anything. When you analyze, that is the beginning already. The attempt is also the beginning. Long Paul has to give the reflection as always, because the audience must listen, because everyone cannot do anything, cannot practice, because that is the circling. Therefore, one must listen only. And ending will be right there. Purification is right there. The effect is right there, according to the listening. Because there are many levels and density from the audience, the purification will purify all of that levels of dimensions. Because this is the era of instantaneous enlightenment, according to the same as in the Buddha era. Whatever that is given through the sentences, enlightenment is right there simultaneously. If you listen to something that is funny, the funny will happen accordingly. But if you listen to that which is giving ending, ending will be right there as well, accordingly. Long Paul will refine the terminologies, the languages that purify themselves. Therefore, the audience will end accordingly as well. Even in the bathroom, Hluang Po still refines the reflection, refining the language or terminologies that still creating stuckness for the audience has to be changed, to be refined. The art of blessing cannot be stopped. It has to continue onwards according to situations and circumstances. Whoever that is deluded to any terminologies, we have to refine those terminologies and use terminologies that purify themselves, language that purifies itself. For example, not attached to the non-attachment itself is the terminologies that ends right there and then. They cannot continue forward. Ending is right there and then. When they listen to it, ending is right there accordingly. Just like the terminologies of non-attachment, this still create path for the non-attachment. If it's not Samudhaya, there is no path. Just like that. That's already mentioned earlier this morning. There is the path to the enlightenment because there is a delusion, there is the projection. Without the projection for attainment, there is no path for enlightenment at all. This is from the belief values that is projecting and setting up in this way and that way. Therefore, the desire follows accordingly. That's why there is a path to enlightenment and how and methods and ways on and on. This is deceiving each other like seriously. Therefore, it's become each one on one's own methods and ways. This is fiery. Just the desire alone is the beginning of the Samudhaya. It creates Samudhaya. It's just like grasping for something that is not about grasping. How can one grasp for the anicca? How can one grasp for the anatta? Everything is anicca and anatta. Everything. Even the word path to the enlightenment is ungraspable. It's a tithi. It's the language that is anicca in itself. The words that is there given by the Buddhas cannot be grasped. But the later generations, they grasping for all the words of the Buddhas. That's why there are many causes, deceiving each other for money, for faith, for followers, on and on. There are just karma and karma. There is no need to have methods and ways for Nibbana. Disengage from disengaging itself, ending is within itself, proceeded with the everything. This is great compassion. This is the blessing, the mighty force for the blessing. Just listen. Each circumstances that is going to be unlocked, the riddles. Just listen. Otherwise, one will be stuck with one's own habits, old patterns, according to one's own belief values. This art of blessing is not in the textbook. This is boundless. It's solving and correcting according to situations and circumstances. Textbook cannot follow the circumstances at all.
มันตามไม่ทันตำราเนี่ยมันตามสถานการณ์ไม่ทัน
The textbook cannot catch up with circumstances.
พ่อนี่มองพบคนอื่นเลยหลวงพ่อจะพูดหรือไม่พูดเท่านั้นเองนะใครจะคิดยังไงใครจะรู้สึกยังไงท่านจะพูดไม่พูดเท่านั้นเองแล้วไม่ใช่สิ่งไปตอกย้ำใคร
This is not something that is not to make it worse for anyone. Just unlock for everyone whatever that is arising in whatever ways. Just unlock it, that's all. Beyond special insight is boundless. It's not at the inside. It's not just knowing about someone's background. This is not just stuck with insights. Not just about knowing something or someone, knowing the background, not at all. Just unlock through the unobstructed, that's it. Sharing the unobstructed for everyone. Discarding on its own. Letting go on its own. No grasping on its own. Therefore, all the mindfulness, concentration, contemplation and all that, no need to talk about it. It's samsara. No need to talk about it. Mindfulness is still samsara in itself. Must have mindfulness, that is samsara. Must be, must have, must get. That is like stuck with uprighting and not uprighting on and on. That is samsara. There is no need to talk about it. Must have mindfulness, concentration and wisdom. This is samsara. Must have, must not have. This is still samsara in itself. It is samudhaya in itself. There is no need to talk about it. If you talk, then purify within the conversation, letting go on its own, no grasping on its own. This is discarding the lightness, the unwinding that discards itself. Let's proceed towards blessing slowly. Release out of oneself. Release out from taking in the conclusion for the sake of oneself. Conclusion within itself, it will be truly not about grasping. Otherwise, it's going to be stuck with just not attaching. It's impossible because there is no limitation within the non-attachment as it truly is. Because otherwise, it's going to be stuck with karmic habits. Projecting for liberation of suffering is karmic difficulties, which is limiting within itself. Therefore, open up for samsara as giving non-attachment on its own, proceeding simultaneously with everything, means for everything.